Okay, we are live and direct. Now, it has been a very long time since I have um, posted anything or done any notes or any of the sorts of thing, but I hope to change that in the coming year without being too driven by external pressure. So, what I have here in front of you is cards for homebound seniors. These are instructions for cards for homebound seniors. Uh, by Meals on Wheels, and I just literally started volunteering with them. I will have my first real deal run as of tomorrow. Um, and I think I'm going to love it. Like I have 15 seniors tomorrow I'm probably going to be delivering to. And apparently since this is actually quite sweet. What did they say here? Uh, let one of our Meals on Wheels homebound clients know that their community cares about them. Every year since 1970, our volunteers have made and distributed homemade cards. These cards can lift spirits as many seniors are isolated and alone. Four times a year, 4 times a year, we pack a card into the meals that are delivered by our drivers. We also provide a card and special treat for each of our clients' birthdays. You can have fun tapping into your artistic side. Plus, you'll feel good knowing that you're making a difference in the lives of so many seniors in our community. So they have various guidelines about do's and don'ts. This is slightly larger than they would want, but this is kind of the best paper I could use. This is usually from markers, so it's close to being cardstock. The thing I'm going to work on are thinking of you cards. Have a good day, best wishes, be well. So I think that's exactly what I'm going to start. And I brought out my babies, my painted babies, because they'll be my little like when you're in figure drawing class, they'll be my little live models. And so I plan to do 4 of these today, and we'll see how that goes. This one still needs to be fully painted, but you get the idea. In fact, I have been sketching the last few nights in general. So I got a few, like this is definitely one I want to include. That's Peter right here. That's Peter Bun Bun. Marcel's a little too sad. This guy's a little too mean. But yeah, I have ideas. I have a kitty and the flowers. So things like that. Let me start off with Peter Bun Bun actually. Then let me make another version of that. So we're just gonna do straight graphite kind of mixed of things. I have Copic markers too. I actually have loads of like older Copic markers below me. But this is something different. I want to do something, as the title says, it's my birthday and I get to draw. I can draw if I want to. So I figured this is the kind of productive thing I want to do on my birthday is also make other people happy. I was going to, write this whole very to me, it's rather self-involved, sort of look back at the year preceding. And I might still do that, but this is my best foot forward. It's just like making something. So thinking of you. Let's just do that in big old letters first. So I have space. I know what I'm working with. So they're very particular. They don't even want cursive. So something that's like really easy to see. So let's do that. I'm even going to and in the run that I did, I don't know, like 2 weeks ago, it was me and another fine gentleman who was showing me the ropes. And I have a lot of empathy now for folks who do anything approaching gig economy stuff, like whether or not it's Instacart or DoorDash, because they actually are partnered with DoorDash. And so for areas in neighborhoods that they can't get to or a little bit more difficult, they usually hire them out as well. Although lettering is not really my strong suit, I just like doing it. And Big old blocky letters like this are fun. Okay, let me see. Let's do Bun Bun. I have so many Bun Buns to handle. Where's my bag of I actually even have reference, like, right in front of me or below me. Sorry, this is my new, like, live setup, and so I'm still working with it. Oh, you know what? I do have stuff. Right. I got cards at the wazoo. So I got Betty here. I got Betty. I got oops, Steve fell over. I got Bun Bun Lee, and I got Peter. So I'm gonna put Peter over here for reference. So I got no excuse but to draw him well. It's weird. I don't think I've ever done this live, by the way. Just like simply drawing. It's always been like digital in some way, shape, or form. Let me think about it. So the way Meals on Wheels works, by the way, is that they have loads of volunteers that come out around, let's say, like 6 in the morning, start packing all the groceries. So they each get, I think it's like a food pyramid's worth of food inside a big grocery bag. My question is like, how do they supplement for the rest of the week? And I think that is a bigger question around food assistance. And I mean, it was really quite interesting for me to, just as someone was just learning the ropes, is like seeing the different types of, you know, senior living facilities that there are throughout the city. So we went on a very specific route throughout San Francisco, um, and this is a very different looking hat now, but that's okay. The thing I'm going to be fighting here, fighting is not a good word for it, but I think I'm going to be trying to make sure I don't uh, get too precious about it. I have three of these to do, and I think they'll be able to feel my love through this more than anything else. That's really what's important. He almost looks like Pikachu, doesn't he? A little bit. By the way, whoever's tuning in right now, I super appreciate you for watching along. Make you a little. So this little critter, Peter Bun Bun, comes straight from um, Portland, and so I had very specific instructions around how to make him very Portland friendly. And one of the suggestions was around making this little um, bandana and full on hat was my idea because I was thinking of my friends who like going mushroom hunting, mushroom gathering over there in the woods. which is so Portland, by the way. It's so Pacific Northwest. It's not something I would imagine. I mean, of course, you could probably do it out here in the Bay Area, but it's not something my friends would ask me to do. It's kind of a shame when you think about it. I see. Like, I wanna get into the shading and everything, which is, like, ridiculous. I need to just calm it down a bit. So what do I wanna do with the overall gesture? Maybe it's kinda like a cheeky, like a yeah, it's gonna be low, but, like, coming through here and up through here. So, yeah, and make sure we get fully Oshkosh Bagosh with this. I used to wear Oshkosh Bagosh growing up. It's just fun to say Oshkosh Bagosh. I don't know where this whole thing I drew this other night. It's like a little lantern. Maybe a Chinese lantern, I'm not sure. Now, there is a new bunny cafe that has a soft opening in San Francisco, literally called the Bunny Cafe, and I think it's out somewhere in North Beach. I absolutely have to visit it at some point. I'd love to pitch them the idea of doing an art show, um, that would benefit the bunnies themselves and also the artists. Like a whole bunny thing. Like I'm clearly have gone down a literal rabbit hole with my buns, and gladly so. I really do love each and every one of them. Um, sorry, I'm trying to figure out how I want to do the legs here. I feel like it should be in a little patch grass, just like that. Just happy little grass. There's no way I can't not do Bob Ross's approach to this, by the way. Why am I having so much trouble with the feet? He's in Portland. He doesn't wear shoes. That's just where I'm going with this. See the little grass is poking through. Of course, they have like longer thumper feet, but I don't want to do that. Just want to make it nice and there we go. Hmm, cool. Gonna change out pencils here and see how this feels. That's good. You know what? I think we have enough to go on here either for me to continue to ink or wait, what does it say? I think you use, best wishes. I like be well. Let's go with be well. Now, normally these would be folded over, but again, because I feel like this is the best kind of hard, stocky thing I have, I'm just going to go with this, meaning a one sheet rather than a foldable. They even said that their eyesight might not be good. So hopefully that is large enough. Mm, yeah, so that's one down just in terms of penciling. I might just continue onwards because I want to get all the pencils done. And then, because you kind of see where I'm going with it. It's not that not rocket science here. Okay, what I want to do next. What do we think about Steve? Maybe Steve. Steve. I mean, we're gonna get to all of them, so I feel like I don't draw Steve enough, which is great. It gives me opportunity to. This is one of my other dogs that I just drew. I kind of vacillate between kitties, rabbits, and doggies these days to a large degree. But there's even like this weird Chinese cat that I made. He's a kind of a cutie pie. Also very interesting too. Like mostly like another reason why I wanted to do Meals on Wheels, and this was recommended by a good friend named Heather, who's also an artist, and she does Meals on Wheels, and we were talking about like, well, how do we help immigrants more directly? And this is a very good way to do it, especially in times like this. We really do need that kind of loving support, especially for the most vulnerable of us. Okay, so let's do Steve. Do I have a good shoot, I don't have a print of Steve yet. I gotta work on that. Okay, so why don't I do this? I'm gonna do my own version of Steve here. Can you see him? Yeah, there he is. So let's start with now he was slightly influenced by the Wes Anderson film, The Life Aquatic, with Steve Zissou. A very different Steve. Bill Murray Steve. So Steve Bijou was sort of inspired by that, especially with the where the hats were concerned, the big red hats. So Steve is very much like wizened old dog, and so that's why I want it to come through if I'm drawing him. Kind eyes that have seen a lot in life. I mean, I guess I could talk about sort of what my journey has been like the last year with these characters, especially because thing I would talk about in the article is how much life has changed for me in regard to. I would characterize it this way. It feels like I've been a salary man, like Japanese style salary man for like 25 odd years. And it's only because of like AI reinvestment that I was essentially one of the casualties of this sort of new world we're stepping into. And, I'm casualty is a very, very dramatic word, but just in terms of livelihood, you know, I have had to rethink a lot about what it means to be an artist in the past year. Um, would I still do art if I wasn't getting paid for it? And the obvious response to that resoundingly, even a year and a few months later, is fuck yes, I would. Like that's never going to leave me. Um, I'm happy I can say that. But I'm very sad for um, not so much my career, but for the people who are just starting out. You know, kind of world, kind of like crazy buy-in that we're seeing between. And I haven't even said the word yet. You know what I'm going to say is that we're kind of in the throes of this what feels almost like a pyramid scheme that we're all being driven into hype cycle wise. And that is not to say I haven't done my own investigation into like specifically where AI tools are involved and are headed to, because I want to keep very much um, to a degree. Like I have two minds about it. There's a part of me that really wants to opt out opt out of a lot of things that are getting sort of shoved down our throats. On the other hand, I'm also very curious, actively investigating well, what is possible in this space? What was it like for someone, for instance, 30 years ago, having to face some of the similar issues, at least in the creative environment? What's different about this is that it'll affect all of us. And I think that is, that- that's a whole other um, can of worms, so to speak. Sorry, let me kind of figure out the rest of Steve's pose here before I say anything else. Sometimes I just like to free draw like this without even thinking about the structure or the overall gesture, and that kind of shows me where it's going. If that makes any sense. Like, I mean, this comes from years of me just drawing from my imagination, but I think I want something very sweet here. And I want the letters to feel very bubbly around, almost like a circle, but not maybe a semicircle. So thinking of you right around here. So I was already thinking about that this is negative space and how to sort of think about the lettering and the layout. I almost want it to be slightly hippie-ish in a way, but not to the point where you can't read it. See, I shouldn't overthink it. But I do want him holding. Could he be holding the bird? By the way, the name of this bird is Yi Yi. You know what? Let's let him hold the bird. I'm not used to this. I'm not used to the way Substack does live versus Instagram. So I'm curious if somebody even wants to talk to me, how does that even show? Hold up. All right. I'm not going to get bogged down that we're only halfway through this one, and I want to make sure I can get to at least three of these. Trying to decide how foreshortened I want the perspective. Like, is it like a top down? I think that it is a top down. So I think this is the second sort of Oshkosh Bagosh piece I'm doing. Yeah, let's do it from here. So it's like coming up, and he's like slightly dynamic pose. Mhm. Anyways, that wasn't the most complete thought there, but, I guess to finish that off, I have actually looked at what's possible, whether or not it's, like, motion capture or could it be a Photoshop killer and, what else? Style transfer, which is sort of this thing about can you, start with one thing and then totally transfer the style. They're not like anime, photorealistic. All those things are very possible. And I'm just talking about like mostly non-video things, as it affects people in my industry. Like for sure, all those things are actually pretty much a done deal at this point. And there's no amount of like, we've opened the Pandora's box. Like you are going to get a level or already are getting a level of slop out there that is pretty concerning because I don't know what that's doing to people's like visual literacy in general, especially when you can no longer trust if anything is quite real uh, because it's trained on so much of our social media. For instance, even Substack, I have no idea how much of this is scraped, you know, and how much should I care? I should care. Yeah, let's get our little birdie in. He would like to be included in this somehow. It's an awkward hand. So the other day, for instance, I was able to, gosh, and I don't want to talk about AI this whole time, but I was able to upload a drawing like this, for instance, and actually I did it in Procreate, so it was very obvious what I was drawing. Like it was a little bit more rendered, Um, and what I found interesting about it, just for me, from an emotional point of view, of uploading that drawing to a 3D AI site. So basically, what it does, it takes your flat drawing, reimagines it, and basically remakes it as a 3D object, which is really unthinkable in the old days. When I say the old days, like I'm saying like 3 years ago, and it's really good. Like, I mean, not maybe to the point where it's production ready, but it's close. And the fact that it's close enough that you could just like 3D print it off the bat is, you know, both strangely magical and also like simultaneously very, very disconcerting. Um, because, you know, and this is the hard part to say is that what happens for me emotionally is that I get creatively deflated. There really is no other way to put it. Like the deflation of no longer having any kind of say in terms of the process, the active joy of sculpting something and bringing it to life. There is no longer that in betweenness because God forbid that cuts out. It increases productivity to a point where you could theoretically just prompt a bunch of different models from your initial drawings and feel as if like that's an accomplishment of some kind, which it is, from late state capitalism point of view, it absolutely is Uh, there's an argument to be made there. But paradoxically, you lose the pleasure and, frankly, the frustration of process because what most of us don't like to talk about is it's tremendously frustrating, especially if you're just beginning to learn something. But there is great reward in it. And it's hard for me to emphasize how important that is. And perhaps what's going to happen is that we're going to see this like sea change in terms of how we even regard aspects like creative control, assistance, taste, you know. Now, when artists bring that up, it's like, well, as long as you have taste, as long as you have like a built up library of taste, right? Le goût en française, um, you'll be fine. You'll brave the rapids coming our way. But I would actually push back and say, I think the way that these LLMs are moving, uh, the taste is going to be one of the things that also gets taken. Frankly, I think that is something that we're not thinking about. All right, that's a good enough steep issue. Let's just work on lettering. Also, less of my pondersome commentary, and let me just focus on the letter. That's a crazy looking G. Okay, the poor senior's gonna be like, "What the hell is this kid? What did he draw?" Let me just finish it off here. These Copic markers are so good. I've had these for years, and they're still so beautiful. I used to do something called graphic recording back in the day, and these are the only things I ever used. The outfit that I joined initially, um, trying to remember how I found them or how, gosh, was it like the Craigslist days, you know? But anyways, very hard work because it requires you to be 100% be an active listener, even if you don't necessarily understand what is being presented, especially in the text space. Okay, let's just start there. Um, and sorry, I'm at the eyes. I need to be really careful here, especially with ink. And again, I want it wizened, so I have to be really specific about which things. You can get little wrinkles in there. You know, when you're inking something, again, a thing you find out through process, it's as important what you don't ink as what you do ink. So even though I laid down a bunch of pencil here, it doesn't mean I'm going to ink all of it because maybe that's not where I want to draw the attention to. Or, or if I let go of it, you know, if I don't have that, like it can serve as a highlight too, if that makes any sense, right? Like it's just this portion here. It's very obvious, like that the highlight. Trying to think what he is standing on top of while I'm inking this. What should it be? Oh, cramping up my legs a little bit. Cramped up here. Okay. So this probably won't be like a full color thing. I might have another um yeah, I don't know what other color I'm gonna do. Honestly, I'm trying not to think too far ahead here. This is meant to be more fun than anything else. Hmm. He cute though. Oh, he cute. See how I made that little tiny change there? All that stuff counts. Okay, so what I want to do. So I'll go back in there with another color soon, but right now, I'm not gonna overly work this, and that's good. Let me actually do the same treatment with the letters. That color got plenty of whole case of this orange work. See how well this orange works. My dodgy, my dodgy G. Yeah, so I am digging a lot back into the analog funnel for obvious reasons these days, which I'm really enjoying, by the way. Oh, that thinking view really comes through nicely on the camera there. And of course, I can, when this dries, I can sort of take that away. Do I want him on something fun? I do. I just don't know what that is yet. Now, as you can tell, he does, just like the Life Aquatic, he does absolutely command a little boat. And it's a boat that flies through the sky, but that's far too involved for the purposes of this card. Let me look back at the other one. Should I? Oh my god, I have a postcard of one of my favorite movies in here. Gosh, it's like 19. If you've never seen Run Lola Run, I highly, highly. Oh my god, this theater doesn't even exist anymore. That's how old this is. So cool. I should do the same for the bunny. Let's do that. While I'm on an inking roll, I should do that. If I don't get to this third card, that's okay. Third card will probably be a kitty. So we would have sort of covered all our bases, critter wise. Funny, I picked two of my critters who have very similar outfits. That was not purposeful, by the way. And that's what I mean. Like, I'm not necessarily going to come into this guns blazing. Yeah, the Bunny Cafe. Yeah, if you look them up, literally, I think it's just Bunny Cafe SF. They're all rescue bunnies, and so it's just like it just doesn't get better than that. If we can, well, if I can pitch this idea to them around possibly doing some sort of show, I have to see the space too. I'm like making an assumption that they would even be open to it, but it's also because I came off, or I am still involved with a drawbridge nonprofit gallery. So Drawbridge is an art organization that I volunteered with years and years ago, but it very much stayed with me. The experience of working with uh, children from very, very low income families, and I worked at a site outside of Daly City along with a facilitator. And every week we'd have a group of kids come in, all the way upwards of teenagers, actually. And that was just their time. That was just their time to have very non-judgmental, just like art time for themselves. And I always think to this day, I still think that's a really, really valuable service that they provide. So, anyways, they got this space down in the Barcadero. And that's one of the things that I thought was really great about this year is, I had finally the time, not only just to bet on myself, but to work on things like that or contribute to efforts like that that actually do help the community at large. And Drawbridge was a very good example of that. Sorry, when I'm inking, I think I'm in a very specific zone. Um, but yeah, Drawbridge basically has this gallery down at the Barcadero right now. And I have 4 pieces in it, 2 of which did sell, thankfully, and half of that goes to me, and half of that goes back to the kids in the org, which is exactly how I would do it going forward with any other nonprofit. And there's some stellar artwork in there, so I am very happy to be a part of it. There you go. Where's the top? Okay. Little shadow action. Okay. Let's do the inky. A less dodgy G. Ooh, these marker fumes are strong. All right. Okay, we got it inked to a degree. Thinking of you. Thinking of you. And then do one more. See how good that marker doesn't even bleed through. All right. Make a little water break here. All right, we got Steve down. We got Peter down. Pretty much, these two have had their day in the sun. So we're going to put them aside and we're going to focus on Persephone. And Bun Bunley will just be looking on. Okay. No Persephone. You know what? This one I kind of like this one a lot. So maybe it'll be a version of that. It's just like Kitty and the Flowers. Nothing says thinking of you like a kitty in the flowers. All right. I want to make this feel more like a kitty surrounded by the water and the flowers, rather because I drew it kind of inward to outward rather than outward to inward. That makes any sense. Okay. I'd probably draw the kitty a little bit bigger. Gotta make that nose very boopable. Like, that's the secret to most things in life. How do you make things boopable? Hmm. You almost want to feel like flowers are caressing the face. Volunteer wise, by the way, I'm also looking for opportunities to short of fostering, which I tried earlier this year, and I liked it, but it's tough to do in a house where we have folks who are allergic. I'm even semi-allergic to cats too, but I love them so, and so I have to figure out a way to get volunteer time with them. That's pretty cute, though. All right, I'm not gonna lie, that's pretty cute. All right, let's leave that as is. I think that's a good start. Um, hold up. And so therein lies the rub of it all, is me going in with the hatching and the lines and all that. Like I to again not get too precious, but I also can't help it sometimes. I'm like, I see blank space that I want to be able to fill, you know? And I think one of the big things for me, this was, by the way, going to be the title of my very, very important article, um, is that everything I do, especially when it comes to this more personal stuff like this, as corny as it sounds, I think it's very true that I make things with love, and I think it's very true for a lot of my specific circle of artist friends that we make things with our whole fucking heart, you know? And, I think that's part of the thing I hope comes through more than ever now. It's because I get to sort of focus on my own sort of work and, I also have to figure out ways in terms of how to get it out to the public and meet them where they are, and that in itself is going to be very, very, trial and error, to say the least. But I'm willing to be, as an introvert especially, I'm willing to put myself out there as long as it means I get to sort of bring some light to people's day with the work that I make. I think that's really the key. I mean, that's kind of what I'm always going to come back to is like, how is this sort of helping rather than hurting? Hmm. Hmm. Okay. You know what? Let's try different. Trying to see if I can go with this different mud her color, not just fully black, but something that's not so a ton of markers in here. I am not complaining. There's some good markers in here. But I gotta pick the right one. I wish I had something really light. I'm probably going to be ending on this one, by the way, because I feel like I've gone long enough. And you get a sense of where I'm headed with things. I can't look through this forever. Got a red here. Quite too much, though. Oh, sorry that I don't have this better. You find a yellow that I like. Yeah, so I was going to say about, by the way, coming back to the whole graphic recording thing, like, actually, I'm really thankful for that time because it's just like, another skill I don't think I ever thought would be something I would do. And it was just really good to kind of like understand that my brain worked a certain way to be able to do it, Like, not only is it the active listening of picking up phrases uh, that people will say that feel very important, and so you have to put those things down. So what I was trying to explain about recording is that it's the synthesis of both images and phrases that are said by whoever the participants that you're recording on a large, large piece of paper, like really large. And it's almost basically it's a mural by the end of the day. I don't think it's good colors. Um, I might just go back to, gosh, I wish I had a pink. I don't see a pink nowhere. Okay, enough of this. I'm just going to go right back into it. Um, I do like this blue. How's this blue going to feel like? Hmm, not bad. Not bad. What I like about these Copic markers is that the brush quality of it still is so good after all this time. Oh, I ran out of battery for my lights. Well, if that isn't a sign to wrap up, I don't know what is. Let's just finish this piece up. It's pretty funny. Even the key light was like, wrap up, buddy. You talking too much about some nonsense. But it's my Substack, goddammit. I'm gonna do what I want to do. All right, there we go. I see. I probably should have. This is why I need pink. I want pink for the flowers for sure. I can do it thinking of you up top there. Um, what did they say about the? Let me look at something here. Oh, amazing! I can really adjust it well. I would like that. That was the box of markers I just stepped up. I don't. I'm not bleeding. That's good. Me too. Yeah, into the red. Jeez. Large, avoid cursive. Writing large. Do simple, kind. A lot of seniors have vision problems. Hell, it's not just seniors, man. Okay. Can you see this all right? Okay, good. We're almost done here. I just like my kitty face. I don't want to mess up my kitty face. All right. What kind of See, this is this thing where I just like go right into it. I'm not even truly thinking too much about. It's definitely not cursive, but it's definitely not like sans serif. And that's going to have to be okay. Seriously, I'm wondering if I hurt myself. Oh my god, I am bleeding. That's great. Well, that concludes that concludes our stream. Thank you for watching. But I did get to the third one before I I still highly recommend Copic markers, by the way. Don't blame Copic folks on my stupidity. Oh man. Yeah, I'm bleeding. All right. I'll be okay. Take care, everyone. And I'm thinking of you.